What's up, you guys? It's Red here. If you're over the age of 15 and have a pulse, there's a good chance that you've probably heard of the stock market. There's no doubt that it's one of the most common ways people invest their money to grow their wealth. But have you ever stopped to ask, what is it about the stock market that makes it such a popular way to invest money? Why is it that just about every retirement plan out there puts some, if not all, of your money in stocks? What are the characteristics of the stock market that make it such an attractive way to invest money? In this video, I'm going to be addressing all of these questions with my top 9 reasons why the stock market is so popular. So let's get right into it. So the first reason stocks are so popular is that you get to share in the benefits of business ownership without actually doing all the work. Have you ever noticed that not that many people have ever gotten truly rich from getting a salary? The people who accumulate the most wealth in our society are generally the people who own the businesses. And without the stock market, the only way to own a business is by starting a business from scratch or buying an existing private business. But starting a business from scratch or buying an existing one requires some serious heavy lifting. This means that you either need to run the day-to-day operations yourself or find someone competent enough to run the business for you, which is no small task. When you buy a stock, you get an ownership stake in a business that's already functional. So you get to share in the benefits of business ownership without doing much of the work. This means that you're entitled to your share of the cash flow that business generates. For example, if you owned 1% of Apple stock, you would be entitled to 1% of Apple's cash flows. And over time, this can really add up if you keep investing the money you save into more and more stocks. Okay, reason number 2 that stocks are so popular is that they're one of the only asset classes that has much of a return at all after accounting for taxes and inflation. There are many different places you can park your money: cash, government bonds, stocks, real estate, Bitcoin, the list goes on and on. And if you examine the returns of all these asset classes over time, the evidence overwhelmingly suggests that the best place to invest your money is in stocks. If you read a standard investing book, it may tell you to put your money into some ratio of stocks and bonds. A stock is just an ownership stake in a business, and a bond is like if you made a loan to a company and they paid you back over time plus interest. Over the long term, returns on stocks have averaged somewhere around 8 to 10%. And the returns on bonds have averaged somewhere around 5%. And taxes and inflation hurt returns on bonds a lot more than they do on stocks. This is because every time you receive a bond payment, you have to pay taxes on it in the year that you receive it. Whereas stocks, you only pay taxes on your gains once you sell your stock. So you could hold a stock for 10 years and never pay taxes on it until you finally sell it. This ability to defer taxes makes your total taxes paid on stocks a lot lower than on bonds over the long term. And inflation hurts bond returns more than stock returns because your loan is getting paid back in tomorrow's dollars, which are worth less. You know how old people like to say, back in my day, we used to be able to buy a candy bar for a nickel. That's what we're talking about here. And combined, numerous financial studies have shown that the effect of taxes and inflation make the return on bonds next to nothing over the long term. So your typical corporate bond has no place in your investment portfolio if you're trying to grow your long-term wealth. And this makes stocks look all that more attractive, along with smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. All right, number 3. The third reason people like the stock market is because it provides a good opportunity cost versus other investments. All opportunity cost really means is compared to your alternatives. For example, buying a rental property can be a good way to diversify and stabilize your investment income, but you have to deal with tenants and maintenance and And on top of all that, based on some calculations I've done, the average cash return from investing in homes is typically around 8%. Compared to the long-term return of the stock market, that's about the same return. With stocks, you literally just chill and let the businesses you're invested in earn you your returns. All right, the 4th reason stocks are so popular is because you get liquidity with the click of a mouse. In finance, there's this term called liquidity, which just means how quickly can it be converted into cash. Cash is called liquid because it can flow anywhere. Everyone accepts cash. Liquidity is important because sometimes situations can come up where you need that money to pay for something else or to make a different investment. And there aren't that many investments out there that can quickly be converted into cash. Let's say, for example, you own a rental property and something comes up where you need to get some money out fast to pay for something. It's going to take you a while to sell the house and do everything that's necessary in order to get your cash out. And if you can't sell it fast enough, you're going to be stuck calling J.G. Wentworth.
J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. 877 cash now.
877 cash now.
877 cash now.
Stocks are different. You can buy stock from your smartphone and sell your investments with the click of a button. However, this can be a bad thing if you get scared and sell when the market drops. All right, reason number 5 that stocks are awesome is because they have low frictional costs. Now, what do I mean by frictional costs? Frictional costs are just anything that would create friction at the time of the transaction. For example, if you sell real estate, you have to pay a real estate agent commission, and on top of that, there's usually a few $1,000s of closing costs and other random fees in there. And after paying all these, it really eats into your return. With stocks, the frictional costs are very low. It's actually free to trade on most brokerages now, which is an incredible advantage to the small investor. This makes the frictional cost of investing in stocks essentially zero. You can buy and sell stocks all you want and pay 0 commissions. All right, reason number 6 that people like stocks is because you don't need that much money to get started. Compared to other investments, the stock market has about the lowest price of admission. If you can afford to buy lunch, then you have enough money to invest in the stock market. And this looks very attractive compared to other investments like real estate, where you need probably about 10 to 20% of the house's total value as a down payment. This comes out to about $25,000 to $50,000 if you're buying a decent place, which is a stretch for a lot of people. Alternatively, if you want to invest in something better like a private investment fund, you usually have to be what's called an accredited investor. To be an accredited investor, you need to have a net worth of at least $1 million or make $200,000 per year. So naturally, that excludes most people. Stocks allow you to get started with very little money. And with the advent of free trading on almost every brokerage platform, you don't get hurt as much by investing in small increments. It used to be that making a trade would cost you $10 every time you invested. And so if you're investing $100 increments at a time, you're losing 10% every time you make an investment, which is horrible for your long-term returns. Nowadays, just about any amount of money can get you started, and not having enough money is no longer a valid excuse. All right, moving on. The 7th reason stocks are so popular is that there are thousands of businesses to choose from. Now, I know this may be a controversial one and it can lead to some confusion for beginners, but I think having more options makes investing a lot more fun than it would if your options were more limited. You can build your own diversified portfolio if you want, or you can invest in index funds, which is just a bunch of companies' stocks combined into one. This makes investing more exciting, but it can also lead to problems with the financial news trying to pitch you on the next big penny stock or something. But it makes investing more enjoyable if you like to research companies. It's definitely arguable whether having thousands of options is good or bad for investors, but I wanted to give it mention here. All right, we're getting close. Reason number 8 that people love the stock market is because it is the best wealth building technology mankind has ever created. Up until the creation of the stock market, there was really no way for an ordinary person to build their wealth. Imagine if you lived 500 years ago. What would you invest in? Your best bet was probably to fight for a plot of land to farm and invest in a goat breeding operation as your nest egg. But with the creation of the stock market, it levels the playing field somewhat. Even if you see yourself as somebody who's not super rich or well connected, there's still a place that you can invest your money that doesn't require any goat herding. Okay, number 9. Since you stuck around, here is your special learning bonus that I promised you. Wait, did I promise you a special learning bonus? I don't think so. But you're gonna get one anyway, and I bet you'll learn something from this one. Number 9, my final reason that the stock market is awesome is because it is a pari-mutuel auction market. There are some exceptions to this, but typically when people buy or sell real estate or entire businesses, both sides typically have a good idea of what that asset is worth, and a fair price is usually negotiated and arrived at. And sellers usually try to time their sales to their benefit to get a higher price. This makes it pretty rare to get a bargain purchase on real estate or an entire business. The stock market doesn't work that way. In the stock market, prices are determined by a live auction process. This can sometimes lead to a wide divergence between the true value of a business and the price it's selling for in the market when a lot of buying or selling happens at any given time. It's sort of similar to a horse race where the odds change based on what's bet. And I think this is what makes the stock market so addicting to people, because there's always opportunities out there for good bargains. So that's it. Those are my top 9 reasons why I think the stock market is so popular and why so many people use the stock market to build their long-term wealth. Now, I'm not saying the stock market is necessarily the best for you. There are a lot of other things too that you can invest in that may be more appropriate. That said, as I hopefully articulated here, there are many reasons why people love the stock market and why you should consider allocating some of your money to stocks. If you can think of any more reasons, I'd love to hear them. Please comment them down below. I really would love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you got any value from this video, please hit the thumbs up button down below. It really makes my videos look good to the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. So that's all. If you're still watching, thank you for staying until the end, and I will see you in another video.